Good morning, folks. Today I wanted to go over a new project I have been working on. In this project, I wanted to create a spreadsheet that a teacher could use to basically create a new Google document for every student using AppScript. And you can see under this spreadsheet we have added a Create Student Documents menu item, Append Assignments, Backup and Erase Assignments. We've added these three scripts. So what happens is when we run these scripts, we have a list of student names and their email addresses. And when we run this first script, it will create a document and it'll put it in a specific folder. In this case, I would be looking at these folders right here. And as you create a new document, it would be added here. We have a setup sheet on here because we need to have the document template and we need to have the folder ID, the document template ID. And what we're using here is a regex extract formula. We can just simply paste in the document URL and extract its ID. We can paste in the folder URL, extract its ID, and we use a regex extract to get those values because we're going to use those values in the script. So let's see. Then we have an assignment template, and the idea here is that the teacher is going to put in an assignment name, an assignment task, a due date, and so forth. And then our script is going to append that information to each student notebook. So in this case, you can see I've already run an assignment list from March 30th. Now, if I were to come back here to my student documents and append assignments, I've only got the one student, but as that runs, you'll see on March 1st, we have a new set of assignments. So the concept here is teachers just simply maintain this information here and they change it. And then using this, first of all, they create all their student documents. Then they can append their assignments, push out a different assignment list that their students will have tasks that they have to complete. And then the teacher can evaluate each student's notebook. And then finally, we have a script that will rename each assignment here. Let's run this one. You back up and erase assignments, and you'll see that the data in here goes away. So the teacher's ready to put in a new assignment. And I have assignment 2 now. It automatically creates a new list, a new tab called assignment 2 with the data that was on the assignment template. So the teacher has a record of what each assignment was as they continue on each week or whatever they want to do with this assignment template. So let's take a look at how I set this up. Part of what I wanted to teach in this tutorial was how to use Gemini in order to write these app script. So I very carefully crafted a prompt where I laid out as carefully as possible the way I wanted these scripts to run. And you can see here, I've named a spreadsheet where the first, last name, email address, document URLs are on that main sheet. I also talked about having the setup sheet and where I would have the ID of the Google Doc in cell A3 and in cell B3, the ID of the drive folder. I mentioned that I wanted several scripts now for this project. One of them is an on-open script. So I wanted Gemini to create an on-open script that will create a menu for the sheet that would allow us to run these scripts. Then I defined what I wanted the student document script to do, and that was to iterate through the student information, create a new document, name it with the first, last name of the student, share it with that student with edit rights, and then write the URL of that newly created document back into column D of the main sheet, so I would have access to open each student sheet. Then I wanted this next script was to go ahead and basically at the append today's date to the end of the body of each one of the students. So the script's going to open each student document, append the date, and then append this data, this table data that we have on the assignment template in the range A1 to C10, gives you that much space to fill that out. So we're going to tell the script to copy that table of data that's on the spreadsheet, and after pasting in the date, paste in this table of data. And we mentioned in here that I added a line in here. It is important that the script is set to write the table data in each cell. And that's because as I ran this script the first time, it failed to write the table data correctly. So I'm just trying to address as many issues as I possibly can so that Gemini writes the script correctly. And then here's our third script. We wanted the script to make a copy of the assignment template, add it as a new tab, name them, go through the list of tabs that exist and increment them. So assignment 1, assignment 2, and it automatically does that for us. And then clear the contents of the assignment template so the teacher's ready to run. So this is the prompt I gave to Gemini. Now, this is the final app script that we got out of that. You can see created a menu, that's my on open script. It created the documents script that, gets all this information laid out in an app script, in a JavaScript that will actually perform all these functions. Then the append assignment script. And Gemini, of course, kicked this whole thing out in one complete, just in the way it does, wrote it all out in a matter of 3 or 4 seconds. And then I copied and pasted that into, I went here to my sheet, went to extensions, opened up app script. I already have it open, pasted all this information in. Here's my app script, saved it, authorized it, and ran it. Now, when I come back here, you'll see, oh, and by the way, one thing I don't think I'm showing here is that this is the template. So this is the template that we built. By the way, this image here, I asked Gemini Image to create me a picture of a lab with a bunch of table of, stuff on it. So I used Gemini to create this image. And this would just be however you want to format the initial document that you push out to your students. And, oh, we were down here. So then here's what happened when I ran Gemini. It did make some errors initially. So I had to copy those errors and paste it back into Gemini and say, hey, this didn't work. And then I have a list now of all of this information. I asked Gemini to summarize the errors that were encountered and how they were fixed. So that's what this little part of this document is. The first error was that every time I tried it, Gemini tried to use the document app.document object to use make copy. And of course, that's not the correct way to do it, but Gemini was able to correct that just by letting it know that that was incorrect. So that fixed that problem so that the documents were created correctly. Then we had a little bit of trouble appending this table, and that was fixed by telling Gemini that it needed to append the table data cell by cell, because when it just tried to copy a table and append it, I have found that that doesn't work. Gemini does solve these errors itself. And then in my notebook here, you can see this is an actual date field, and which allows you to choose a date. Initially, what was happening is the date in that cell was being appended with the full GMT formatting of dates, which I didn't like. So I wanted it to format the date simply as a simple date. And so I went through and asked Gemini to clean that piece up. So again, with a little bit of careful thinking ahead of time, I created a prompt, dropped this into Gemini. It wrote the scripts. We had to troubleshoot the scripts a little bit, but at the end we had a functional system that created a document for each student, shared it with them as the editor, and created this document for each student that now it's up to the students to perform the tasks, and the teacher just has a simple way of having a notebook for every student that actually the teacher owns and the student is an editor of. Makes it very easy for the teacher to go in and assess the student's work.